Welcome to The Explainer. So, what if a 2,700-year-old prophecy held a blueprint for world peace? It's a pretty wild thought. Today, we're diving into just 3 verses from the prophet Isaiah to explore this powerful vision, a vision of pilgrimage, learning, and a purpose that has echoed through the ages.
All right, let's jump right in. What's so cool about this prophecy is how it starts. It's not some big command from on high. Instead, it paints this picture, a scene of hopeful movement, like a huge migration of people all heading in the same direction for the same reason.
I mean, just try to picture that for a second. We're not talking about a few people here and there. We're talking about entire nations all turning towards one single spot on the map. It's this vision of people actually encouraging each other, saying, hey, let's go. And what's driving them? It's this shared hunger for something bigger, for divine knowledge.
And this is what's so important to get. This whole idea is grounded in a real physical place. For the people hearing this back then, the mountain of the Lord wasn't some fuzzy abstract idea. No way. It was a real destination you could literally walk to. Mount Moriah, right there where the temple stood in Jerusalem.
So you see, Isaiah's vision is building on something people already knew and did. For centuries, making that trip, that pilgrimage to Jerusalem, was just a part of life. You'd go for big festivals like Passover, or for major family moments, like dedicating your newborn at the temple. What this prophecy does is take that familiar idea and just blow it up to a global scale.
Okay, so that brings us to the second half of the verse. And this is where it gets even more interesting. We know where everyone's headed, but the big question, the really crucial one is, why? What's the point of this massive gathering?
And the answer is education. Simple as that. They're looking for divine instruction, a whole new way to live. And the goal here isn't just to, listen to a lecture. It's to really learn God's ways so they can actively walk in His paths, to make it a real, practical part of their day-to-day lives.
And that historical role is absolutely key here. See, for Isaiah, Zion and Jerusalem were basically the same thing, the holy mountain right at the city's heart. But this place wasn't just a capital city with a king. It was the intellectual and spiritual hub, the place you went to understand God's law. You could almost think of it like an ancient Ivy League university town. I mean, centuries later, the Apostle Paul himself would go there to study at one of its most famous schools. Jerusalem was the source, the place where all this knowledge and law came from.
So, okay, the historical context makes sense, right? It gives the prophecy its roots in reality. But then, the very next verse just flips the script. It takes this dramatic, almost utopian turn and paints a picture that goes way, way beyond anything that was happening at the time.
And here we are. This is the heart of the prophecy. This is the passage that's so powerful, it's been quoted by leaders and activists for literally centuries. It's a vision of a world that is completely, fundamentally remade.
I mean, this is just a staggering vision. Think about it. This isn't talking about some temporary ceasefire or a political truce. This is describing a world where war itself becomes obsolete. Not just the tools of war, but even the knowledge of how to fight, the learning of war is just gone, abandoned.
The imagery here is what really makes it stick with you, right? It's all about this radical transformation. You take a sword, a tool designed for one thing, killing, and you reforge it into a plowshare, a tool for growing food. You take a spear, made for piercing bodies, and you turn it into a pruning hook for harvesting fruit. It's literally about taking the very resources of destruction and turning them into instruments of creation and life.
So, here's the fascinating part. This beautiful, incredible vision of total world peace, well, it hasn't happened yet. In theological circles, they call this millennial language. It's pointing toward a future age, a time of perfect peace. And this creates this really interesting tension, which is actually pretty common in prophetic writing. It's like Isaiah is seeing multiple timelines at once, almost like a double exposure photograph. He's blending this vision of Jerusalem being restored in his near future with this much bigger ultimate vision of world peace way down the road. And you gotta ask why. Well, it suggests that the promise of that amazing future is what gives meaning to the struggles of the present. It connects them all into one big, continuous divine story.
Okay, so if this ultimate peace is still off in the future, what's the point for right now? What's the immediate takeaway? What was the message for the people listening back then? And what's the message for us today?
This final verse, this is the pivot. This is where the whole thing clicks. It takes this huge, epic, global prophecy and brings it right down to a personal level. Isaiah calls out to the house of Jacob. He's talking to his own people right then and there. And did you catch the change in language? It's not about what they will do someday. It suddenly becomes a direct invitation, come ye, and a group commitment, let us walk.
And that, right there, is the key takeaway. That incredible vision of future peace, it's not just something you're supposed to sit around and wait for. It's meant to be the motivation for what you do right now. The call is to start living by that divine light today, to start walking that path of peace and wisdom in your own life in anticipation of that future world.
So ultimately, that's the question this prophecy leaves hanging in the air for all of us. It turns this ancient 2,700-year-old text from just a prediction about the future into a very personal invitation for every single generation that reads it. What does it actually mean for you, for me, to walk in the light of the Lord today? Something to think about. Thanks for joining this Explain.